is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from Zoom again, and this time we are here with ZJ of Drowning Pool. Great to be able to talk with you, man. Great. Thank you so much for being
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, brother.
Anytime, man.
Appreciate it.
Anytime. This new album, Strike a Nerve, is absolutely awesome. But for people who haven't heard the record yet, do you feel like this is just a direct continuation from what where you guys left off after Hallelujah, or was this meant to kind of be like a new beginning for Drowning Pool in a way?
You know, we've got Jason Marino who sings with us now in 2012, and you know, the band we went through some changes. Not just, I mean, the business side from labels and management to, you know, there's been a few singer changes, and I appreciate our fans sticking with us. You know, these changes are made, you know, to evolve and to better ourselves, if you will, as a band. You know, writing music together. So if you know, I mean, you probably in the know with the Hallelujah record, we didn't get a whole lot of love or attention on it when it came out at that particular time. You know, with E1 for a short amount of time, but we definitely got way heavier. We are a heavy band, we're a metal band, and then with stuff on Strike a Nerve was even heavier. So yeah, in a way, it's a continuation on that path. Like, you know, I think bands get older and they start getting lighter, or you know, we're the opposite, man. We're just going for broke, and there was a lot going on at the time within the band and just the business. So there's a lot of pretty intense, heavy songs, pretty angry songs on this new record.
Well, you know, that's really awesome to hear. But I've always loved how Drowning Pool, you know, you would have songs as heavy as like Bodies or Sermon, but then like, you know, on later albums you would have slower songs like Over My Head or Turn So Cold or something like that. Does every song or every album maybe like start off with a preconceived idea? Like, was it your intention to make Strike a Nerve a little bit of a heavier direction?
No, it's never really an intention going into it as much as just like, you know, each song has a time making that song sound as perfect for the idea that comes to the table. At this stage in the game with Strike a Nerve, you know, I write music, I write lyrics, I write, you know, the same thing with Jason Marino, our singer, and Stevie Benton and our drummer Mike. So we've kind of evolved into this band where all four of us are bringing ideas to the table, and we write from the heart, we write from serious situations that we've been through together as a band and individually. Yeah, it's dude, we've done a lot of different stuff with this record that we haven't done before. Just again, evolving as musicians, writing songs together. The biggest thing I think we've done with Jason Marino, we have such a wide range, vocal range with his voice, and it's the first time we take songs and we try them in different keys. I traditionally kind of write drop C or drop B, if you will, tuning, but that's not necessarily the best key for the song, if you will. So with Jason, you know, he took the time and the patience to like, let's try it in this key, and see which song and what key allowed him to come across the most powerful with his vocals. And you get a lot of that on this new record. So we definitely evolved into that.
Yeah, Jason is
Strike a Nerve.
Jason is a phenomenal vocalist. To this day, I think "By the Blood" off the last record is one of the catchiest songs that Drowning Pool's ever had.
Man, thank you, dude. "By the Blood's one of my favorites. We just played it again the other night. You know, it's we rotate stuff within the set list. We play everything that you love to hear, but we definitely rotate a lot of stuff. The set list is not the same every night. We kind of Grateful Dead this stuff, if you will. We just every night we're just like, hey, how about this one? How about that one? I love that about this band now that we can do these things.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, as somebody who's listened to Drowning Pool pretty much my whole life at this point, you know, if you played me 30 seconds of a song, I could tell that that's off of Sinner or that's off of the self-titled or Full Circle, etc.
Man.
Yeah. Do you feel that like every song is representative of a particular emotion that you guys are feeling at that time, or do you kind of like use music as a direct kind of like escapism from your personal lives?
No, it's a self-expression of you know, definitely the way I feel. For me, you know, especially now being back on tour, which is great. You know, I'll come up with ideas and raw riffs and just stuff from being in different cities, hanging out with different people, and I get a lot of influence from being on the road. And when I go home, I put it together as a song. Yeah, that's kind of how the stuff evolves with our band. It's just per song, per situation. And again, like you were saying earlier, with each singer, you know, we had Dave, you know, God rest his soul. He was an awesome singer, great friend. He came out strong, you know, with Bodies and everything, you know, the Center record. But we had Jason Gong Jones for a minute on Desensitized, and he had a strong voice for what he did. And the same thing when Ryan came in. We kind of write what we write and then kind of write with the singer in mind. So a lot of things, the songs that you hear on the two records with Ryan, you know, take what we do and kind of turn it a little bit to fit the singing. But what we have now with Jason is great because he's just another team player because he plays guitar so great. He writes riffs, I write riffs, Steve writes riffs, and it really is a complete band of all four of us writing together songs that all four of us agree on, every part, every lyric, everything that's happening. And I could be happier than any other record because we're at this point now in our career. Jason's been in the band for 10 years, longer than anybody else. We've written more songs with Jason Marino. We've been on more tours than ever before. I know people still like, who's the new guy? He's going to be the new guy forever, I guess. But we're more solid now than we've ever been, ever. It's awesome.
And you led me
point, especially 25 years later. You know?
Definitely. I mean, I was 7 when Sinner came out, so like I was just.
We don't have to do math. You
so
know,
like,
7, 17.
Yeah. Well,
I think I'm 170 years old anyway now.
Well, it's funny you mentioned actually Jason joining the band, because I wanted to bring that up actually, because next year is going to march 10 years of his debut with Resilience, and kind of like turning back the clock, like, you know, having different singers in the band and whatnot. Like, I was very impressed that like the self-title didn't sound like another Soil album or something like that, and so on and so forth. But when Jason joined the band, what was the kind of mindset going into Resilience, and did that sort of lay down the groundwork for what we would hear on Hallelujah and Strike a Nerve?
Yeah, going into Resilience, it was another situation where we were between singers after Ryan, and Mike, Steve, and myself got together and we wrote a lot of, you know, I got probably a good chunk, half of that record together, lyrically, musically, and then bringing Jason into it and letting him, you know, be his own person. He's got Jason's got a tough job, man. He's got to pull off the Dave stuff. He's got to pull off, you know, the Gong Jones stuff and the Ryan stuff, which he does amazing. And he's got to bring his own presence to the table for our Adrenaline fans who have seen this, you know, since day one. And he does a kick-ass job on that stuff, man. You know, things that are, again, just rolling along smoother than ever before. I can't believe we're coming up on 10 years. But going into Resilience, writing, there was definitely a getting to know each other part of that. Plus, the producer we had at the time, the label at the time, there was a lot of factors coming in to that with Jason. And it was something, you know, his first time. And you know, I guess it was like the first record, getting to know each other, man. There's a lot of cool songs and great songs off the record that I love. We keep talking about re-recording that record because Jason's voice has evolved a lot in this 10 years, and he feels like he could do more justice to the songs than that he did when he first recorded it. So we may do that at some point to, you know, for his peace of mind, but I think the record's silent, dude.
Yeah. Well, don't change anything off of Hallelujah, because I also think Snake Charmers is like always a good sort of like a ballad track in a way. Like, that was really fun and to listen to. So I think
we were rocking that in a rehearsal room the other day too, man. Like, we stay up on all our songs. Like we literally just like stay up on all of our tunes. Sometimes people come out to the show, hey, can you play this song and that song? And, you know, we change the set list nightly. We're kind of like I said earlier, like Grateful Dead, man. We do whatever we feel that night. Snake Charmer is another one we've been kicking around. That might pop up on this tour, it might not, you know?
Yeah.
We're ready to play it when it's time to go.
Definitely. And as a guitar player, because, you know, not only do you have to like play with a versatile vocal style, I think with every singer that you've had, because one minute, you know, you're doing songs that are like softer and then songs that are very aggressive. Have you felt like maybe you had to adjust your guitar technique or your playing in a way, or even songwriting to maybe like accommodate to the new singer in a way?
I think the only time I felt, again, you know, I play and write what I write, play what I feel. But as far as like some of the stuff with Ryan, since he had a distinct voice, and like you said, you know, we're Drowning Pool with Ryan, not trying to, you know, sound like Soil. He did that with Soil, and he's doing that again, which they're awesome, great guys, friends and family forever. So there was a few things I did maybe kind of curtail with him, which was fun to do, to accent or like, you know, have him like, you know, come across as strong as he could with his voice. And that's another thing we did on the new record Strike a Nerve with Jason. And we have 5 different tunings, and we explored each song and tried different tunings until it was the right sound for Jason to express the song lyrically and just melodically and vocally to make it sound the strongest. So I'm glad that we're at this point right now, just as musicians, where we write for the song and not like, you know, I need my idea, my part needs to be played. It's like, here's the ideas, and let's all jump on it and make them sound better, man.
Yeah, well, I think it speaks very highly, because like having different tunings, having to play different types of songs, having to do this, like you really have to be pretty diverse in a way. Do you find it easier to maybe come up with ideas for your songwriting when you're in the company of your bandmates, or is it maybe easier to think of ideas when you're, you know, kind of like more alone in isolation? This is heavy metal.
It's both, really. We just started this run a few days ago, and the first thing we did, we all sat in the back lounge, and I had the guitar out, and we already started working on new stuff. And like earlier today, 2 hours ago, we're on the front lounge, and we just started bouncing ideas off of each other. You know, we get together, and I love that about my best friends and my buddies, man. Like that's that thing. Like our whole life is music, and we were already, even though the record's coming out this Friday, and we're excited about these songs. We worked so hard on them. We're constantly working on stuff, bouncing ideas off each other, like I was saying. Yeah, man, it's been good. We're tighter than we've ever been. We're closer than ever before, man. And it's awesome on the musicianship side of things to be like that, because it makes songs and just ideas happen that much faster. We all know each other, and somebody throws something out, we know what to do and where to go with it. It's a great place to be right now.
And definitely truly inspiring as well. And having such like I'm just gonna use this for lack of better words, but like experimental sound, because when you play like a song as aggressive as like By the Blood or Sermon, for example, versus like a ballad like song like Turn So Cold or Over My Head, do you feel like it's a different expression of energy that you're incorporating in there, or is there a method behind the madness that kind of like applies to every song?
There's definitely a feeling and emotion that was happening, in our lives at the time that we were writing the song. So some of the songs like that, Over My Head, which is another one of my favorites, there was a lot going on with my life at the time when I came up with that, and it brings me back to that spot. There's man, I start naming different songs, just different periods. It's just, self-expression of what you're going through, man, and it brings you back to that area. And a lot of, I was saying this earlier to someone else about songwriting, because I listen to music, we're all listening to music, we're all music fans. And again, expression, writing what you feel. But I also listen to so much music, and I find myself in situations like maybe driving through Dallas and road raging, and I need my road rage song right now, and I don't have it yet. So that inspires me to I'm gonna go home and write a song I need right now, driving real fast. And, so yeah, I just pull inspiration from everywhere, man. We pull inspiration together as a band. Sometimes, everybody's sitting at the house and doing their own thing, and we just send ideas back and forth. But we've definitely been a creative band, and it's nice right now. Like the creative juices is just kicked on big time. Even though, again, we're pushing Strike a Nerve. It's coming out, but we did record it 3 years ago. We wrote it 4 or 5 years ago.
Wow.
We had the big lull the last 3 years, pandemic, and it was everybody's in a dark place. We didn't really get to play. We didn't really get to write. So now that we're back together on tour for this record, there's just so many emotions and feelings and ideas that are just coming out by the minute while we're out here, man. It's exciting. It's awesome.
Yeah, and when it comes to Strike a Nerve, being that this was written, we're just seeing it the light of day now after such a long time in the making. Is what we're going to be hearing on this album how these songs were originally structured, or did these change a lot over a span of time?
No, they were. We worked really hard and long on this record, man. We spent more time on this as a band than anything I've ever worked on before. We had the time to do it. We wanted to go over every little part, every song, and make sure all four of us are happy with every line, every lyric. I mean, we went through all the little things, man. And it's cool because we recorded it again 3 years ago, and all of us have been on hold, obviously, with COVID. And to go back and brush up on the record because we're playing it live now, listening back, I think a lot of musicians or artists are guilty of it. You might listen to your past songs, go oh man, maybe I could have did this extra part, or, we're always our own worst fucking critics. But with this the new record, it was oh yeah, that's right, we did that. Oh, and there's that part. So it was exciting to dive back into it versus oh, I should do this better or that. Because we did take the time. I mean, I've worked harder on anything in our entire lives, man. Like I said, we're solid unit, man. You see it on stage, all four of us, man. We love playing together. It's rock and roll.
When I saw you guys at a Gramercy Theater back in the spring, I want to say that was actually my first time ever seeing Drowning Pool. I popped the Drowning Pool cherry at that show.
With El Nino and Happy, awesome, man.
Yep. So it was like a breath of fresh air to finally hear all these songs from the catalog and everything like that. I was hoping to hear Over My Head because I think that is the most underrated ballad in this genre ever. But
I appreciate you saying that, man. I got a few close friends of mine. This guy Dave Perez. It's in a band called Big Story in Dallas, and he was my guitar tech used to go to it. Over My Head is his favorite song, and so Over My Head is as it is on the record. But then also I have my demo version that I wrote because you write an idea and then you bring it to the table, it evolves, and then I have another version I do that's like a 3/4 kind of perfect circly tool thing because it's one of my songs. So I sit around, I do a lot of versions of all the stuff I have anyway. I have probably 10 other versions of bodies that I just do because it's fun. So I sit around the house, I got my guitar, what else am I going to do, right? I'm going to write new stuff, but also I'm going to fuck up my own songs because I can.
Yeah. Well,
So Over My Head's one that I still play around every day. Just sit on the back of the bus. I'll be playing Over My Head later tonight.
yep.
Now that you said it.
It's a beautiful song on a beautiful album. Rest in peace to Kato Kandwala. I know he worked with that album.
Dude, Kato and I were so close, man. It's like, became like best friends after doing the first record and together, and like super close, man. That's that's a hard loss right there, man. I learned a lot from Kato. He's great. You know, a lot of bands couldn't handle Kato. I'll tell you a Kato Kandwala story real quick.
Please.
You know, we walked in the studio and he did Breaking Benjamin. He's done Pretty Reckless. You know, he's done a lot of bands, and you know, I'm working on record. I'm doing solos, and he goes, "Is that what you're gonna play?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "That's what you're gonna record on your record for everybody?" I said, "Yeah." And he starts laughing. And I'm like, "What the fuck am I gonna do with this?" Right? So I go back in the room. I'm sitting there like 12 hours, bro. My finger, you know, like just like lines in my fingers. I'm just trying to write up this other stuff. I'm like, this is what I have, man. This solo fits the song. And he goes, "Oh, I know, man. I was just pushing you to see if you could do something else." I'm like, he's that kind of dude, man. He would push you, you know, to be better, to be a better musician and better for your songs. And yeah, he was a great guy. I learned a lot from him.
He was one of my first interviews ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Potato? Oh shit! No way.
He and my father have done a lot of business together back in the day, and you know, I knew who he was just being a metalhead. So meeting him like was, you know, the equivalent of meeting like one of my favorite bands or something like that. So like
yeah, man, he is cool. He had just a rock star vibe. He's such a great songwriter. Man, and he was fun to work with because he's the only person ever that we worked with that we would take a song and we would spend 2-3 days and we would do 20 different versions. Like, once you try this, once you try that. We would take this big circle and take the song to so many different places. And you already have your original idea. So he's like, you have this, we can come back to this, but let's explore this area, explore that. So he's definitely one of those guys that push you out of your comfort zone and to do what's best for the song, definitely. You know, for the listener. And I learned, you know, it was a great experience. I cherish those times in life with Kato, man.
100%, man. He was definitely, I would call him like, and you know, he's still alive, but like he was like almost like the modern day Rick Rubin at the time in a way.
Dude, he was headed straight up to be like A-list #1 fucking producer, bro. He knew his shit.
Yeah.
He had all the toys, and he's great. Just a genius, man. Just a genius songwriter.
Definitely.
Funny guy.
Definitely.
I'm gonna cry now. Jesus.
Sorry, man.
There's no crying in rock and roll. There's no crying in metal. What are we talking about? We're all a bunch of crybaby baby back.
Hey, it takes real metalheads to admit that they could cry. All right.
Real metal.
Yep.
Cry.
Yeah. All those tough guy metalheads who like say we don't cry. Yeah. You all you got to play is Planet Caravan by the Pantera cover, and then that'll bring them to tears immediately.
All right, you bring right to tears. You're thinking about Dime, and you're like, oh, it's so beautiful.
Were you guys, if you don't mind,
you're cool, man.
If
I want to come hang out with you. Come out to the show when we played. I think we were playing at Dingbats in Jersey or some shit like that.
Yeah. I saw you guys at Gramercy Theater, and which was and I live 4 blocks from that venue. I'm actually 4 blocks away from there right now.
Nice. Stumbling dances. You get hammered and stumble on home, man.
It's impossible for me to not see a show there. Like, it really is. Like, I find myself gravitating. I wasn't supposed to be there that night. I originally had a meeting and I canceled it. So.
Oh, man, well, I'm glad you made it out, dude. Well, better hang out next time.
Absolutely. And there was one more question I actually wanted to ask, circling back to Dimebag. But being that Drowning Pool did originate in Texas, were you kind of like involved in the scene with them at that time? What was the sort of scene? Because I talked to like a lot of Texas bands, and being that it's such a big state, they all have different stories. And it almost seems like depending on the style of metal, it really depends on what the scene was like.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. You know, Mike and I, my drummer Mike Luce and I, we were you know, from New Orleans. We moved to Dallas in '96 because the metal scene was happening. Pantera took off, but you know, Phil played in a band called Razor White, who rehearsed across the hall from Mike and I. And as Phil as Razor White, you know, Mike and I had a couple different bands and names that we worked under. And then Phil disappears. The next thing you know, he's in Pantera, and they blow up, and it's like, this is the most metal band ever, right? And then we moved to Dallas in '96. You know, get together with Stevie Bent, and then we finally got Dave in the band, and Dave happened to be friends with Dime and Vinny. So the first time I met Dime and Vinny, this is in Arlington, and it was like literally, I have video and everything. I have like VHS cassette video of this show. I had long hair, Stevie had long hair, and Dave was like freaking out and stuff. He's like, Dime and Vinny are here. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Can't wait to meet him. He goes, no. I owe Dime like $500 because he bought me this red truck and I haven't paid him back. I think he's here to like collect some money and shit. So he's in the back room freaking out. So I walk up to the bar. Hey, CJ, Drowning Pool, I know you're friends with Dave. And he said, he owes you some money, but if you're here to beat his ass, can you please wait until after the show? That's what's going to happen. That's how I beat Dime and Vinny, right? And like, no, man, we came here to support Dave. We love Dave, man. Come check you guys out. So that's how we met. It's like 96. And, those dudes are like, they took us on like family and brothers, man. It was, they were doing their thing as Pantera, and we were just working our scene as Drowning Pool, doing our own thing. It was never a connection of like getting signed or being, discovered because of them, if you will. But we're friends and family partying. And after David passed away, Vinny actually let me stay at his house for like a week after that, man. I was pretty devastated. And he let me stay in his guest room and like, he took me in and, I had a couple of rough nights and they're real genuine people, like real friends and family. Man, I got stories for days. Don't even get me started on Dimebag stories, bro. I have so many.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate and grateful to be like friends with them. But, they're always like, it's Pantera. Like they're always like the local guys trying to, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
We're hanging out. Look at us local guys.
But that is the best Dimebag story I've ever heard in my life. That is, it's like, because everybody's like excited to meet Dimebag, like, yeah, but here's Dave, like, it's like, oh shit, no, I owe money, I gotta get the hell out of here.
Yeah, I thought he came there to kick his ass that night. I was like, can you wait till after the show if you're gonna beat his ass? And like, he was like, no, mate, he wasn't worried about $500, man. he just came out to support us. Like, here, Dave had a new band called Drowning Pool, hey, lights,
sweet.
Just in time. And so they came out to support us. Like, I didn't know it, they just knew Dave. And it was a genuine, like, local friends and family meetup, if you like, real friends and family. Like it's the best way to meet.
Were you in your old death metal band at the time?
No, this is with Drowning Pool when we moved to Dallas in '96. But no, I was in like Flesh Parade like 1990, 91.
Okay.
92.
Oh, wow. So before I was born. All right.
Hey.
You got it. But
I'm from New Orleans. I'm probably 150 years old. I'm probably a vampire, I guess.
I mean, hey, every New Orleans musician, whether it would be I Hate God or Goat Whore or Phil Anselmo, you guys are indestructible. So,
dude, I Hate God and Goat Whore. We used to play with them all the time, way back then, dude. I'm talking like early '90s and stuff, late '80s and early '90s, and those dudes are still playing. Kurt's still freaking playing, dude. It's like it's wild to see all of us still here, friends and family and some of us from high school together that we're still on it. So it's cool, man. It's
definitely.
I mean, I'm definitely grateful and thankful to still be out there rocking out.
100%, man. So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time and for such an awesome conversation. Great to finally be able to talk with you. Is there just
man.
Is there just anything else with Drowning Pool that you'd like to promote with the release of Strike a Nerve this Friday in terms of tours? And this will be uploaded by midnight, so if it hasn't been announced yet, don't say it here.
Oh, thanks, man. No, we put out Mind Right. It's Southern metal. Just keeping that style going. It's a hats off to Diamond Vinny. It's Drowning Pool doing us, doing what we do, but keeping that same, that groove going, if you will. There's a wide variety of stuff on here. There's a song called Choke that we put out after that has a very center bass sound musically, if you will. Has that jump feel to it, Pity and Reminded and songs like that off the record. And then we have Devil More Down. That's just like straight downbeat, just aggressive metal. It's a mix of stuff on it. It's Drowning Pool at the core of it. There's a song for every situation and occasion, whatever you're feeling. We got a song for you, and all your friends are buying it.
Yeah,
so
I felt just like every other Drowning Pool album as well. I think that's the beauty of Drowning Pool. There's a song for every situation. So
yeah, brother, man, this is awesome talking to you, man. I hope you come out to the show, or you can make it up to Jersey. Dude, we'll hook it up. Hit me up, or hit up our manager Paul, and we'll get you some tickets, or I'll sneak you in the back door, man.
I'm always happy to support, man. I'm always happy to support. But thank you so much, everybody. We are here with Drowning Pool. Strike a Nerve is out this Friday. Be sure to pick it up. We will see you next time on Heavy New York.